with me. You've got to see this, because this is the best car in the world. So let's rewind back to the story now. I really wanted a hypercar, and I wanted one that was going to go up in value. That was the aim. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I buy rally cars, classic cars, and ones that are going to hopefully appreciate. Now, it's a really, really funny story, because what happened was I spoke to VVS and I said, I want to get a McLaren P1. I was just going on holiday. I chatted with Dan, chatted with Harrison. They sent me a few cars. And then luckily, when I got on the plane, it had Wi-Fi. And by the time the flight finished, I'd bought that yellow P1. So in a 6-hour flight, I got it. And I was like, wow, now I've got to pay for it. So we worked with VVS on the finance and the deals, and we got there and we got an amount that I could afford. And I had this Volcano yellow P1. But in all honesty, that wouldn't be the colour I would have had. And when I went to see the car with Harrison, I said, you know, really like the P1, but yellow's not really the colour I would have. But it was launch spec. It was 200 miles. It had lovely yellow stitch. It was very good spec. I thought, I've got to do it. So I did. But all along, I love carbon series cars. So I had the yellow one. We'd done the video with Frank Stephenson over at VVS, and it's opened lots of doors and lots of people I could meet. And then all of a sudden I saw this advert for a Kpurple Carbon P1. And I thought, I'm going to ring them. I looked all the way down the advert and it said, it's actually in yellow. The purple MSO kit is available separately. So I thought, right, I'm going to give them a call. So I gave them a call and I said, can I purchase the Kpurple Carbon body kit? And they said, yes, it's available. I said, how much is it? And they said, a lot. I won't tell you exactly how much. And I said, I'll do it. I'll buy it. And then I thought, crikey, now I've got to get all this money together to buy this body kit. But if I was to buy a McLaren P1, this is exactly how I'd have it. So I thought, I've got to go for it. I've got to get the money together. So managed to do that, and then managed to find V Engineering, who would then change this body, because I had no idea. I thought, how long is it going to take? Is it going to take a week, a month? Can it be done? Is it easy? I rung them. They said, Richard, it's really easy to do, 2 to 3 days. I thought, right, okay, because it's 5 panels. So they come off and they literally go back on. The only tricky bit is around the window. So I thought, right, let's just do that. Let's get that done. Let's get this Kpurple Carbon, you know, MSO kit on here and see how it is. And when it arrived in, I didn't realise the amount of sparkle in the paint, and it feels like it's 3 different cars, because there's like purple, then you have purple and carbon, then you have like this metallic tint, which is just incredible. So right, let's just move on to the next bit of then what happened from there. Let's just go back one more step and just talk about the McLaren P1 and get you to understand how rare these are, how I made the decision, because obviously you've got the LaFerrari, which was, for me, it was too much money. It was £3 million, they were too much. 918, really, really like that car, 4.6 V8, naturally aspirated, Le Mans engine, Porsche, but I wasn't sure it looked as mega as the P1. So the decision was, are the P1s undervalued? And I thought they were. So I thought, right, I'm going to get the P1 and we're going to go down that route. Now, one of the things with this car I see is that it looks as good as the day it was released. And how many cars are like that? Very, very few. And the way it's been designed, to me, looks almost like a UFO. I think that the lights at the back make it timeless, because there is no light. It's just a strip of light. So trying to think, how do you then purchase a car like this and do it? And this was the most expensive purchase I've ever made by miles. And obviously it's quite stressful at the time, because you think, have I made a big decision? Is the market going to crash? Is it going to go up? So I decided on the P1. got that done, and I thought, I'm probably not really going to drive this car, and I'll be upfront and honest with you. I'm not going to be someone who goes, oh yeah, you know, this isn't a garage queen and that. If you're going to do that, you've got to have enough money to crash it, and I haven't got enough money to crash it. So I thought, right, we're just going to keep it, go to the car shows, use it and show people the car. Now the problem was, the first car show I got from Apex. They rang me, said, Richard, will you go to Moatlands for a car show? And this was expensive, and I'll tell you how expensive it was. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to take it, but I thought, Max, I'll do him a favour. It's a new club. I'll help him. I'll go to VVS and I'll get it. Now, this car's only done 200 miles. There was a few problems with the dampers on the back, which I knew about, and I got a bit of a discount on the car. I took it up the road, and it went, and I thought, oh, that's a bit of a funny acceleration. And it didn't sound right, and I thought, crikey, what's going on here? Now, unbeknown to me, the clutch went. So I was driving the car and I was thinking, oh, suspension doesn't feel good, which they said because of this actuators on the back will drive fine. But now I didn't really have full acceleration. And that's because obviously it was going to cut the power and protect the engine. So I went along and I thought, I'm going to be clever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the car to electric mode. Now, as soon as I'd done that, the car totally cut out on me. Now, luckily, the steering didn't, because I was able to pull over, stop, restart the car. Because sometimes when you cut power on something like this, the steering locks and you can't turn, but I was able to. Went to the show, saw Max, had a really great time, but it was a lot of money to fix the clutch. So it's a very, very expensive show. But one thing it did show me, and I think that this is something that will help you with understanding why I picked the P1. It's got 11 to 15 miles of electric range. And I think if the way going forward, villages and that, the way they run, you won't be able to go through them unless you have some electric capability. LaFerrari has not got that capability. So in a LaFerrari, the battery's on the bottom and they're there to produce performance and not there to produce EV. So it was a real key factor. The Porsche has EV capability, but again, I wasn't that keen on the Porsche. I think it would be fantastic to drive, but I almost felt like you would drive it. Whereas with this car, I feel like this is like a showstopper. It's a jewel. It's something you just bring out on a special occasion and people go, wow, which you'll know from Hever if you was at our event. So then you have to go through, well, how many cars are there? So 918 cars. LaFerrari was around, I think, 499, but they also made some Apertas, which makes it, again, less limited. 375 P1s, 21 prototypes and demos as well they made. So not very many. So now we're half the number. Only a 2-year run on these cars. Then you get into MSO, Mclaren Special Operations. They decided that they would do a carbon series. So if you bought the car in 2013 to 2015, you could then have the ability to change it to exposed carbon. They've done 5 of these cars, maybe a few more. It's difficult. I spoke to the head of MSO and he's not sure. But originally they said 5 exposed carbon cars. The only ones I've seen is a blue carbon, the black exposed carbon, and the Kpurple carbon. So the guy who ordered this is his paint in a purple with a tint with carbon. So really it's a one of one car, which makes it incredibly special, really special. So for me, the choice was pretty much P1, then to have this opportunity to buy this MSO body kit. And I didn't know as well that you couldn't have it from new. So the Carbon series come out in 2016. So every car had to go back to the factory, the bodywork taken off, you was given that in crates, actually weighed a lot. I think it was something like 260 kilos, the crates I had of the bodywork. Even though the bodywork's light, it was all the boxing. Then they would redo it with this bodywork at your choice at a cost of $300,000, so £300,000 in the UK. But this is back in 2016, so I'm not sure what this would cost now. So then I've got a carbon yellow, Volcano yellow, bodywork in crates, and I've got this purple MSO carbon body actually on the car. You've probably seen it, Tavarish video, flooded P1. I thought, right, who's going to buy that? Because I've got a lovely 200-mile Volcano yellow body for a P1. So I reached out to Tavarish on Instagram. I said, I've got a body for the P1. He said, I'm coming over to the UK in a couple of weeks. I'll come and see you. I said, well, visit VE Engineering. They've got this new battery for the P1. There's 7 P1s there. Come and have a look. Have a look at the carbon one, see what you think. So he come over to the UK, great guy, very intelligent on engineering. Spoke to him about the car, was waiting for him to make me an offer on the bodywork. I know he would lowball me, which is fine. I mean, I think £50,000 or something, which would never be enough. And there's reasons for that on the bodywork. A door now is £70,000, okay, and you can't get them. So you can't get them from Mclaren. They don't make bodywork parts for this car anymore. So you'd have to, so I thought, well, if someone had an insurance claim or something, you could do that. So a door, 70,000. I think that the front end was something like 60,000. So in all, you're looking at around 280, 300K for a body anyway, as a normal P1, without spraying. I mean, if you look at the badge on here, I think the badge was 30,000 at the time because it's under the lacquer. It's a huge amount of money. So going back to that, meeting Tavarish, great guy, spoke to him, and I had an inkling at the time that he was going to do a carbon P1. And he said to me, Richard, and if you see his video, it says the perfect P1. He said this purple with the carbon, he was like, wow, that is it. That is just the best. And obviously his project, I just wanted him to meet VE, have a chat, talk around and try and help him on his way with that project. And I'm actually going to go out there to Florida because I think he's going to do a top speed run on this car. That brings me on to something quite interesting with this. This was limited to 217 mile an hour due to tyres, but they actually thought it would do 252. So I think it's going to be interesting if Tavarish does that and goes and runs these cars and tries to get to the top speed. Let's do a bit more on performance, because this is one of the big keys why I bought this car. It's like a transformer. Look at this spoiler, look at how that extends. So you've got two different cars. You can have it subtle, spoilers down, it higher up, but then it turns into this sort of monster with the race spoiler lowered down, one of the lowest cars on the road. But I've had something done to this car, a special software change, which we'll go through later. There's only a handful of cars have had this done. So when I get out on the road later and you see the shots, it's going to be incredible, because race mode on this car, it's illegal to drive. So I wouldn't be insured if I went out in this car in race mode. But there's V mode on this, which we're going to show you. But let's talk about performance, because you want to know how powerful it is. 903 horsepower. A lot of horsepower here. So you've got this 3.8 twin turbo engine, and then you've got the hybrid giving it that extra boost. Times wise, you've got the 918, the LaFerrari and the P1. The P1 always won. And I'm talking by small margins, but it doesn't matter. It was still number one. And when you go through stuff, you want it to be number one. And if you're Porsche or Ferrari, you're second or third. Them times were around, I know, quite small tracks, but the Nuremberg time, I think they were saying that it was under 7 minutes. Now, that hasn't been confirmed. McLaren just said under 7. I don't know why, whether it was 6:59 or something, but it was under 7. And they had a Le Mans version of this that actually done it in 6:43, which is extremely fast. So performance-wise, you've got huge amounts of performance. And when we go back to, is it the best car in the world? Pagani, Koenigsegg, all them type of cars, I'm not sure around a track would cope with a P1. And there's other reasons for that too, because tyre technologies come on. This was doing under 7 minutes with old tyres. All these performance figures now, I guarantee, are coming from tyre performance. I've got the original tyres in storage. These are now Trofeo R's, but I could move to a Michelin Cup 2 or a Michelin R. There's so many different tyres that would give it more performance. 0 to 60, you probably want to know, so you're looking at 2.5 seconds. You're looking at 5.5 seconds to 100. That's with old tyres. Is it even quicker? I think that some of these have been claimed to do 4.8 to 100, which is phenomenal speed. So really you've got two cars in one. The LaFerrari and the 918 don't do that. The LaFerrari is what it is. This isn't, and it's an event. When you press that button in there and it starts going up and down and the spoilers dancing and everyone's going wow, and it's sitting so low. The wheels are almost like under the arches, which is incredible. Roof scoop as well. So on here, I didn't know, but it's got speakers in here, and under here they come through into the cabin. So when I first drove it, I thought, Jesus, this is too loud. It was like so loud. And they said to me, Richard, the way it was venting was wrong on the sound, so they adapted that. So we'll hear a bit of that when we're out on the road. The only problem with out on the road, we've still got the problem with the clutch, so hopefully we get back, but you'll find out in a bit. Let's go round the inside, because I'd like to just show you in there, and then we can get this car out on the road. Right, so let's just sell you the interior on the P1. Plaque here, number 49, 375. This carbon seal, because it had a carbon tub, all the McLarens had that. And this tub goes all the way round, so you can see it all the way round here, all the way up in the roof with the roof scoop. Pedals, aluminium, look fantastic. Steering wheel moulded on Lewis Hamilton's grip in the F1. It's a fantastic steering wheel. It does feel beautiful to hold. Paddles are perfect. Can't do anything with these to make them any better. Carbon fibre, perfect length. Follow the steering wheel. Very important when you're driving. This is just too cool. DRS, iPass, push to pass buttons. It's just simple, elegant, but just so purposeful there. Digital dash. Now, I was having a look at this earlier and I love it. It changes modes with race mode, electric mode. I think it's great. I love the air vents. You're getting the gist now. I quite like this interior. Now on here, look at this shape in here. It's just fantastic. This here sits towards you with the carbon. If I just get further in, you've got cup holders even here for yourself. Cup holder here. Now, a lot of Lamborghinis these days, modern ones, you can't even use a cup holder. It doesn't even work. You know, STO's no cup holder. I love this centre console. It's like it's floating through here. Seats, really, really good. They use these seats in like 675 and that, but it's because they're just the best seat. So from an interior point of view, I think it's fantastic. The only thing is getting in and out, and especially at my age, my hip, it's a bit tricky. But once you're in, you actually feel like you're more in the middle of the car than you'd expect. And I think that's because you've got this big sill here and I'm right over here in the car. The view through the back, again, looking towards that big spoiler, which we'll see when we're out driving. Small wing mirror, quite interesting. It's just little details you pick up, which is quite nice. Some of the cars I've been in lately, when I was in the GR Yaris, massive, massive wing mirror. But yeah, it's a fantastic place to be. Stitching is nice. I like the yellow stitch especially. I'm trying to think of anything else to sell you. What else can I say? Oh, the glass on the top, forgot about that. It's very, very light in here. A lot of these cars you can feel like you're quite claustrophobic, it's quite dark. But in here, you've got this, and this changes with the sun. So it's fantastic because you feel like you're almost really in a Targa. So yeah, it's a really, really good interior. Very happy with it, and I think this is going to lead to say, is this the best car in the world? And hopefully I'm selling it to you. Right, let's move on. What we'll do now is we're going to put the car right down into just normal mode, and then we're going to see it transform into race mode. Before we go into raising the car up and down, just want to talk about wheels and brakes. It's important that you know. Akebono discs, these are space age material, 100,000 miles for a disc replacement, so that's just forever really. The others wouldn't do that. They didn't have brakes as good as this. Huge calipers, wheel design, very important on a car. I think this is perfection. I know this is used on McLaren's range, 675 and that, but I think it's because it's just the perfect ring. Super lightweight. I love this bit in here. I love the spokes. There's nothing to change. And when you have that on a car, you look at a car and a wheel. Sometimes you think, not sure it worked, but in silver especially, it really shows the design. And when we got this car, they were in like a dark grey, but silver is perfection against the purple. And I think this is the best rim. So we have had a nightmare after doing all the nice videoing in here. The garage door decided to pack up. So every time we tried to do something, the alarm's going off here. I won't turn it on because it's so loud. So I had to get someone out, one of my security guys come over for an hour. We then managed to get one of them open manually, took the car out, but obviously the clutch work and stuff hasn't been done yet, but we managed to get some good footage. The car holder for the phone to do the footage broke, so I couldn't do any in-car footage. Then I went up and down the road and the car decided to go into sort of a limp mode, but we got it back. We got it back. So I thought we'd finish the video in here. This is going to go off and have all the clutch work done, these bits on the back, and then I can actually drive it on the road and get that done. But the original thing of the video, is this the best car in the world? I think so, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? My favourite car ever was an F40. Before that was a McLaren F1. But I think now the age groups are obviously changing. Younger people love this P1. I really think on the road it's absolutely mega. How many cars do you have paintwork that's almost 3 different colours? How many cars can you change the appearance so much that it looks like a different car? How many cars after 10 years still look like they're brand new? The interior on this, just going up the road, is awesome. I was looking at just all the vents, all the little bits. You don't realise how much effort was put in. Some of the best designers, Frank Stephenson, all the other people at McLaren designing this car. It's one of the fastest today. And if you put the newer tyres on, could be even still the fastest car 10 years on. Electric. Drove it in electric. You see the videos on there. It's actually really nice. I thought, well, I've just got a quiet car, just poodle along, no one knows, and then I can turn it into a complete animal at a switch of a button, race mode, change it, boom. Well, you're going to have to prove me wrong. I'd love to see in the comments what cars you're thinking. I'm thinking Pagani, Koenigsegg, all these cars, Bugatti obviously, but is it better than this? I'm not so sure. And I think some of the photos with the guys we've got here today, Sam, Jack Emerson, these photos are going to be so good. I want you to see them and tell us, you know, is there a better car? I don't think so. Hope you enjoyed that video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to get this on the road surely. It's going to go back to McLaren, get sorted and come back. See you again soon.